Okay, cool. Let's get started. So, good afternoon. Um, Thank you all for joining us today at the Next Steps Career Exploration Conference. This annual conference is important because we provide our students with the preview of unique journeys of those from diverse industries. I'm Ruben Johnson, the Communication Associate for the Co-op. We are so excited that you all are joining us today. I think this is the last panel. I'm not entirely sure. I want to say it is. But I am very excited for it. Centers IT and business. IT careers focus on developing, supporting, and managing hardware, software, multimedia, and systems integration services. Professionals in business focus on planning, organizing, directing, and evaluating efficient and productive business functions. So again, guys, I'm really happy that you all can squeeze us into your busy schedules. I would love it if we can do a roundabout introduction. I think it's so fascinating with Zoom because like I see the order here, but I'm sure it's all like jumbled. You guys are next to people who I don't see you next to, but if anyone wants to kick start it and introduce yourself and tell us what part of the industry you're in.
I'll dive in. My name is Angel Livas, and I am in the business entrepreneur sector. I've worked specifically in the media industry and have worked in media for just over 21 years, and specifically work with content creation, production, things of that nature.
I don't mind following that young lady. My name is Kevin Pryor. I'm the founder and CEO of Community Technology. We're an IT company based in Washington, DC. We focus on infrastructure, education, and resources. We're currently running an innovation center in the District of Columbia, and we mainly focus on certifications and IT training.
Hi, so my name is Justine Gonzalez, and I work in the IT consulting, area, and been doing this for probably over 22 years now. So working mostly in the government area, government centers and all that. So, and yeah, happy to be here today and share a little bit about what I do and with these young kids and everything. So thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Liz O'Donnell. I just recently founded a nonprofit organization in memory of my daughter called Aaliyah in Action. And I'm very happy to be here today. Thank you.
So there sounds like there's a lot of leadership here, right? Either you founded or you've spearheaded something in your own right. What does a day-to-day look like for you all?
You mean work-wise, or like just how do we motivate ourselves? Give us a little bit more with what you're looking for.
Actually, I was thinking work-wise, but I would like both. If you can encompass both parts in your response. How do you motivate yourself, and what does your work day-to-day look like?
So I'll start. I feel like for me, it's really important to start each day with intention and know what I'm preparing for and what lies ahead before the day even starts. So typically the night before, I'll kind of go through and get a sense of what tomorrow will bring. I'm very big on like affirmations and speaking positivity over myself and what it is that I want to accomplish. Then from there, it's just making sure that every task that I say I'm going to do, that it gets completed, ensuring that I don't overcommit myself. And yeah, like I don't like doing the same thing over and over again, which is why I do the work that I do. So no day work-wise looks exactly the same. One day I may be shooting a video, another day I may be creating graphics, another day I may be recording a podcast. So that part of it completely varies, but I think the part that is most important to me is to be intentional and have an understanding of why I'm doing the work that I'm doing, so that I can always bring my best self forward when I'm executing that work.
I can follow up on that. Very similar. I try to set my intention for the day. I listen to the Shine podcast every morning. It's a meditation podcast that really helps me center my thoughts. I'm in a very interesting in-between space now. I'm formerly a teacher. I taught for 8 years. And so this is a huge switch, starting a nonprofit. And so anyone that starts their own business knows you do not make money from the start. And so to make money, I tutor full time, and I also occasionally drive for Lyft. So my day looks completely different depending on who I'm tutoring, meetings, if I'm trying to get rideshare bonuses. And so I try every day to just make a list of everything that I need to get done. I like to plan the week in advance, but then also plan each day the night before. Things can change very quickly. So staying organized has been huge for me, stepping into this new, business world. And so I think organization and knowing where you want to go, keeping your goals in mind is crucial.
I can go next if no one else. So for me, I would say I need some time in the morning to just focus on me. So whether it's like, I know some of you ladies have already talked about, like, even whether it's meditation or doing some sort of affirmations, but even doing a workout. Like, honestly, after I do a workout, I love running. I'm a crazy runner. So after a run, I just feel so good and so motivated, and I'm just ready to tackle the day, like with the meetings, the emails you received, the everyday pressures of clients wanting your attention, and just it gives me time and space to be ready to give to others, if that makes sense. Because I'm big on like giving time for myself, but giving time to others, but I need it for myself first, so I'm able to give it to them. So what motivates me is really that self-care for me first. That way I can give to others, because day to day, going back to your other question too, it's definitely full of meetings, but and really you want to be prepared for those meetings. So your attitude, there's difficult clients sometimes, so you're going to have to deal with different types of people, but all about just like moving forward, being successful in what you're doing. Every day is different, so nothing is the same, right? But it's just making sure you're doing, and making sure you're doing what you love. So I make sure I'm in projects that I'm feeling where I'm thriving, where I feel like I'm bringing the best of me, if that, makes sense.
I think the self-care was really important. I don't even think I would have added that until you you expanded on the question. So self-care is really important because burnout is real, and it is a heavy load to wear a lot of different hats and keep yourself energized and still strive for success. So it is a daunting task. So I would like to say that self-care is highly important, and that's what my 2022 is about, because I think that I've been neglecting that overall. So self-care is probably the first thing that I do, which means the basics. Start off with waking up and eating. We can always miss a meal when you're going for your goals. And so taking that little small time out to make sure that you're ready for the day probably is one of my first little corrections of self-care. As far as business, I've taken on this model of, instead of PPE, I call it PPG, which is process, procedures, and growth. So my day starts with evaluating yesterday. What was I able to accomplish? Who was able to accomplish the goals and tasks that were set out? And what do we need to do to knock off tasks from yesterday so they don't continue to roll over and we don't add new tasks to the plate that we're not prepared for? So definitely evaluating yesterday, making sure that those tasks are being completed or have been completed, and then moving forward. So really, like Ms. Liva said, moving intentional about your day, evaluating your yesterday helps you with today. So that's one of the things that I do, and you know, it's been working, and I think that self-care, probably, I keep going back to self-care because it is a daunting task, and I think that people underestimate mental health and mental stability on your way, on your path to your goals. So just that's one of the ones I'd like to come back to.
Ruben, don't be afraid to cut us off if we get long-winded with our responses.
Oh, I definitely will. It's fine. But no, you guys are all hitting some really good points. And to what you were saying, Kevin, about the path, I do want us to take a step back and reflect on the paths that you guys have had thus far to get where you are. Was it, would you say it was a linear path, or were there zigzags and roundabouts to get to where you are presently?
I'll dive in. So for me, like, I always knew I loved storytelling. Like, I've always enjoyed hearing other people's stories and helping them, one, heal if it's like a situation where they're trying to overcome something or trying to even understand something. The other part of it is also just making sure that they can monetize and benefit from whatever their story is. So for me, consistently, like undergrad, I went to Howard. I majored in broadcast journalism. So journalism has always kind of been my core. So the majority of work that I've done throughout my life has been in media. Now, when you're getting started, like Liz said, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If that means you got to have a side job, if that means you got to write books, whatever you have to do to invest in what you know your end goal is, you have to be willing to put in the work to do those things. I'll tag to Liz, since everybody just sit there quietly.
Yes. So I thought I was going to be a teacher my whole life. So this change, for a lot of reasons, has been an interesting one. I realized very soon after I lost my daughter that I needed to do something in her memory. And I was driving my car and came up with Aaliyah in Action. And so this transition, as I said earlier, has been interesting because I still need to make money every day. And so I am doing these side hustles, whether it's the driving or the tutoring, to make this all work. Was there a second part to the question? I want to make sure I address everything.
No, it was just describing the journey.
Okay, yeah. So I'm still, less than a year into this journey. I'm learning all things about business that I didn't know. I'm teaching myself a lot of things. I'm watching webinars, learning about fundraising, doing everything I can to submerge myself into this new world that I really know nothing about. And so as long as you are very open to learning on your journey, asking questions, never being afraid to ask questions, no matter how ridiculous you think the question is, ask it, nobody cares. And just welcome all the challenges and the greatness that comes with it.
I can go ahead if that's all right. So as far as me, it wasn't a linear process. I mean, even though I've been doing IT consulting for a while, and I mean, you can get into IT consulting in many ways. I majored in information systems, and yeah, I was recruited by a company, and I got sucked in. I loved it, and I went in. But within the job that I'm in IT consulting, I've just done so many different things and been able to travel to different places because of what I've done. So it's like someone said, like just being open to learning, open to opportunities. Even though my skill set was more on the technical side, I've been able to use, which is great, I've been able to use the technical side to sort of be the middle person between someone that's more business inclined and then another person that's really more technical. Because a lot of very technical people sometimes are not very good at communicating with others, or they don't do the writing. They don't. So I sort of use obviously the skills I learned in college, but also the softer skills that with time, you eventually evolve, like, by taking leadership classes. So it's been all these different things. And then participating in, I was also involved in like a co-ed fraternity in college. And I believe that helped me shape a bit too. And I'm in participating in clubs or organizations that are helping you, that can help you move forward in your career. So all of that has helped shaped me, and continuing to being open to learning from all different, companies, and organizations. And even honestly, like participating in these things, like listening to you guys. I mean, I learned a lot that way too. So.
Beautiful. I would say the digital divide has been something that has shaped my IT career it's the reason why I'm here now doing what I do. I consider myself fortunate. So access to information technology, computers, resources hasn't been a challenge of mine, but I've seen in a lot of different circumstances, less fortunate or less capacity of resources for a lot of different people, places, companies, and or governments even. And I say that looking at Africa as one of the places that I've grown up in and seen how the internet and computer learning is not something that is heavily prevalent. So the digital divide has been something that I've taken on as a flag, and understanding that, knowing that I think I have a gift in showing people how to be able to use technology to generate revenue. Like Liz just said, she part-times with Lyft. So who would have thought that she could use her car to generate money, to generate revenue with technology? So those type of solutions are the type of thing that I would like to make sure people have access to and know how to generate revenue through technology, which is the future. So we believe, and I believe, that you need to be a creator rather than a consumer. So that's what drives me.
With these the paths that you guys have taken and are taking, what do you think is a life skill that you've honed in on, something that you can't learn in a class, or I mean something that it really comes from just the experiences that through the trade?
I'm gonna say confidence and knowing who you are, because that's something nobody can take from you. Especially if you are starting a business, you're going to be told no 1,000,001 times. You're going to be told, like, you may have this idea that people think is absolutely ridiculous, but you have to have the confidence and know who you are and have the strong will to push through whatever the circumstances are. And I don't think that that's something that you can necessarily be taught. And the believing in yourself, right? So a lot of times, like, we want everybody to believe in us and to believe in our vision. Like, we might say, hey, what do you think of this idea? And if they knock it down, we're like, well, dang, you know what I mean? But how much do you believe in the vision that regardless of what anybody says, you're still going to propel and move forward with whatever that idea is? So that would be my response.
I would say flexibility and adaptability. I've realized that building a business, you have to be extremely flexible because everything changes almost every day at every moment. I feel like if I didn't have that skill before I entered this, I probably would not have gotten as far as I have in this short amount of time. And just being, adaptable. Not everything is going to go your way, right? And so if you really want something done, think of maybe 2 or 3 different ways that you can get it done instead of just one way.
I think for me, I would say is learning how to work with different people, interacting with different people, because in your career, you're going to encounter all different sorts of people, and you got to make sure, like, it's true confidence, empathy, and just keeping the calm when things get rough. Because and I think everyone has encountered in their career, a client or a colleague or just a particular someone that you may not get along with, well, you have to be professional about it and not let your emotions get in the way. So that's where, emotional intelligence is very important. So I would say emotional intelligence, being able to work with people, and that comes with time and experience.
I would say to use criticism as use criticism as a sharpening or a checkpoint, a sharpening tool or a checkpoint. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we are doing something, we are definite or highly sure that this is the way that it's supposed to be. And as we tend to share an idea or share a thought, people may not receive it the same way we intended it to be received, whether we are not communicating properly or the idea or the process of the business is not thoroughly flushed out. But take that criticism or the hesitancy that a person gives you to check your particular process, service, or product. Because a lot of times if you don't take it as a negative, if you don't take it as a negative comment, then you can use it as good to better your particular service or product.
Liz, I am curious to know more about the organization you started on behalf of your daughter. Can you tell us more about them?
Absolutely. So the name of the organization is Aaliyah in Action, and we provide self-care packages to hospitals to distribute after women or birthing people experience stillbirth or neonatal death. My daughter Aaliyah was stillborn. Actually, it was a year yesterday. And so I got this off the ground pretty quickly after it happened to me. And we're partnered with 4 DC hospitals right now. We just had 2 Virginia hospitals inquire about getting the packages, had a huge Giving Tuesday goal of 100 packages sponsored. We ended Giving Tuesday with 131 packages sponsored. So it has been awesome. I am working really hard on trying to get corporate sponsorships, but little things like Lyft and I've actually had several Lyft riders actually turn into donors, because once you get talking, I've been able to meet some really great people through there. And so the organization is growing every day. It's been hard because it's so personal and emotional, but to see it really take off and help so many families that need it has been extremely rewarding as a mom in this situation.
I love to hear that. I think something that you spoke about that is very important. I'd love to hear everyone's perspective on networking. Angel, you see, I feel like you're really good at networking. I just get that vibe. I don't know. I was talking earlier in a panel about how I am not the best at turning it on. I can, maybe get one person in the room and we'll have a good moment, but most of the time I'm just in the corner, just like, this is cute. Good hors d'oeuvres. Love that. Can you guys speak about networking and not only just its importance, but what it looks like for you all?
So for me, I love networking. I love walking into a space, knowing who is in the space. But I think it also goes back to my answer to the last thing. It goes with your confidence, right? When you walk into a room, and if you're able to own that space, people are more inclined to want to know who you are as well. So they're even more open to speaking to you and sharing more information about who they are, what they do, and all of those things. So if you can learn how to own the room, as they say, or the space that you're in when you are out and about, and it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm going to a networking event. Like, I can just go to an event and just be like, I'm gonna know all of these people by the time I leave here. But I also realize that everybody is not an extrovert open to that, right? And so for the people who have a little harder time going into a space to connect with people, I think before you go in, set an intention around how many people do you at least want to create an experience with? How many people, solid potential clients or people that you may just be able to connect with, vibe with, and grow over time. So again, it's kind of around like that confidence and intentionality. So as you do the things that you're doing. Kevin, why are you laughing?
Because he identified the fact that you are a networking queen. And through even through the social media of Zoom, he's able to do that. So imagine meeting her in person and her controlling the room. It is a beautiful sight to see. My thing, I hate networking. I don't believe I need to network. So when you say networking, I think of it as fishing in the ocean. And a lot of times, you're catching nets rather than fish. And so it's a really daunting thing for because it's not something that I feel truly comfortable doing. I think that I can do it. I'm confident enough that when I have a purpose, I'm great at it. What I would like to add to her excellent list of options is that when you go to a networking event, I think it's really important for you to know why you're going. A lot of times it might meet your kind of need, but I think you really need to be intentional about why you're going. So therefore, when you get there, you get the results, or at least you come close to the results that you want to get. Another thing that I would say is to have an elevator pitch prepared, because people in networking events it's like a speed dating, which I'm sure you guys are not familiar with, nor am I, but at least I'm bringing some context to it. But it is a very quick, short-lived opportunity to make an impact. So with that, you really have to be prepared, and having an elevator pitch is something that I think would do everybody well. So when you're meeting somebody, you're quick to the point. I'm going to tell you a quick story on that, and then I'll let go. I met Russell Simmons one time, and I had a beautiful idea for Russell Simmons to be involved with. Don't know Russell Simmons, a hip hop mogul, and I just knew that this person was the person that I needed to be involved with my affairs. Got to him and I asked him, I said, Russell, I really need you to be involved with what I'm doing. He said, well, how can I help you? And at that point, I didn't know what to say. I just thought that, giving him names and saying this and that would work, and it did not work. So being prepared to know what you want out of a networking event is probably really crucial. And the last thing I would say is follow up. A lot of times you can meet somebody, have a great interaction, but the way that life gets to you, you forget to follow up. And if you forget to follow up, it's as if you never met the person. And so therefore that opportunity fades away. So practice on follow-up, practice on your elevator pitch, and know why you're there. Those are my 3 things of what networking events, what you can get out of a networking event.
Yeah, I think you guys said it all. I was thinking the same thing too, in regards to, having an intention, but also having your, 2-minute elevator speech. And just because you want to be ready too. And you have to remember that a lot of times people are nervous too, especially when they don't know anybody. Everyone gets nervous, even extroverts get nervous. So it's just being out there and just remembering that everyone's there probably to either get a new job, or if it's a school that they want to get in, or if it's, trying to meet new people for, new opportunities, whatever it is. Everybody is there for a reason. So I think people are more open because they don't know anything about you. So it's the same thing. They just, okay, so this may be an opportunity. So everyone is willing to get to know you. And one thing that someone actually recommended and I started doing is figure you're in a baseball field. Like imagine you're in a baseball field. So you start on the first base, And then, you do 10 minutes of talking, meeting people there, and then you go to the second base. And technically your goal is that you're not going to be stuck there for 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You want to move around. So be there for 10 minutes in the first base, then go to the second base for another 10 minutes, and then third base. And then, then you hit your goal, which whatever it is, you decide what you want to do. But it's just basically having a strategy, being intentional, and then with more practice, with more time, it just becomes easier. So, and it does help. I actually tell myself, okay, I've been here too long. Let me go talk to other people and actually end it in a good way and have your business card ready, I would say.
What advice would you guys give to our students students with disabilities entering or that are interested in following the journeys that you guys are presently on?
I would say don't let your disability be a disability. Sometimes your disability is your greatest asset that you can bring into an equation because you are looking at it and you're coming into something from a different perspective. There may be a certain way that people are communicating that, hey, this is what works for me. This is actually how me and my friends communicate, or whatever it is that your business is. Just the perspective that you will be able to bring to the conversation, to the business, to the idea, to the product is of value. So don't allow society to make you think, oh, well, this is something that's not good. See the value that you're bringing to the table.
I totally agree with that. I would say look at it as a gift that, as Angel just said, that you're bringing to the table. Not everyone will have that unique perspective, not every business. And so, be your authentic self and realize that what you say matters and use that to your advantage in this.
Disabilities in the tech realm are really something that is not a hindrance to how you need to perform. We're working right now virtually, so it really, tech does help with the disability and being able to be employed and being able to do things that you want to do and be independent. So I would say tech is a very good field for people with disabilities to not have that as a hindrance in your desire to move forward or to be involved in future development of applications, and even in cryptocurrency, like the blockchain is really, it's an avatar world. It's a metaverse. You can be anybody, anything. You can add disabilities or take away. I mean, it's a total virtual world of how you want to be. So I think tech is something that supports that particular, something that supports people with disabilities.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone is saying. Because to me, if you're letting your disability, then you're letting your fear stop you. And all of us have fears, and we should not let our fears stop us. We should focus on our strengths. And like what Angel said earlier, confidence. It's confident that the skills you're bringing to the table is what this company needs, regardless of whatever disability, regardless of whatever setbacks you may have had, because people have different experiences in life too. Some people may have, for example, mothers who maybe left their careers for 10 years and are coming back. So for them, that would be something they're afraid to come back to. So I would say focus on your strength, focus on what you can bring to the table. Because if you're out there already and they're reviewing your resume and they want you there, they're in the interview, they obviously saw something that was unique in you. So focus on that, on the uniqueness that you can bring to a company. So focusing on the culture, right? So getting to know the culture of the company and what you can bring into that culture. So I would say focus on your strengths and your uniqueness. And that's really what makes you you and what companies want and what I would want.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So there have been fabulous questions being asked in the chat. I want to, because we have about 10 more minutes, I want to ask some of those. So are you guys ready? Can you get a thumbs up? Something. There we go. Okay. So the first question that really caught my eye, do you agree that the creator needs the consumer? Building a bond with the community is important.
I would say yes, it's highly important. The community is your consumer. We're always consuming. So at some point we will consume. We have to go to the store, we have to buy stuff. That's life. But being able to add to the creation of things that are being produced is really what it's important. So you have to be tied in to the people and the needs. So that's why it's important to be tied into the community so you can understand the needs, so that whatever service or product that you want to come out with is embraced by the community and it's not something that isn't desired, wanted, or needed.
Another question, how do you keep up to date with technology trends?
I would say that one of the best ways to do that is through magazines online. My preference is like magazines like Wired. I love that magazine because it just goes over so many different things. I stay abreast. So when you have interest, you tend to join groups. So through your groups that you join and through the trade magazines that you are reading or looking at, but based on your interest, you have to find particular groups or particular information to be able to keep feeding you, to keep you current of what's going on. People use YouTube, people use magazines, people use Twitter, people use TikTok, people are using all types of these mediums to stay abreast, and it's actually working. You know, the way that we're monetizing TikTok, Instagram, there's a whole new way of thought and a whole new way of engagement. So these things that everybody is using are valuable. You just have to be intentional in how you use it.
What is the easiest way to promote your website or business?
So I would say an easy way to do it is definitely going to be like social media in the current climate. But aside from like that, I would say like AdWords, doing like different advertisements. So it pops up when people are doing particular searches, if it's related to the content that if your company is related to the content that they're searching about, making sure that people know about it. What I find is that people start companies, but they're afraid to talk about it. So for instance, on social media, there's all these lives and opportunities for you to create videos, but there's a lot of people who are too afraid to get on camera because they're like, I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I sound. So they're losing a huge opportunity to really connect with their potential audience. So not being afraid to talk about what it is that you do. As Liz said earlier, when she's in the Uber, or Lyft, she talks about what it is that she's doing. So don't take for granted opportunities that are presented to you to be able to share what it is that you're doing. You never know who may be looking for the services that you are already providing.
And with that, I'll also say, use your friends and family. That has been a huge way for me to get the word out, and as far as especially reaching other people in other states. It was pretty easy to reach everyone in the DC area, but now that we're growing, I'm using my friends and my family as best I can to reach hospitals in other states to expand. So definitely use the people around you, and don't be afraid to use the people around you.
With that in mind, what are some goals that you guys have for yourself, for your businesses, and in your career? Some short-term or long-term ones?
So for me, my short-term goal, I'm launching a new podcast network later this month on December 21st. Can I get some rounds of applause? Some yes, thank you. The network is called the Alive Podcast Network, and it's all around creating content to make people not only live, but actually feel alive. So all of the programming will be related to innovation, information, or inspiration. So yes, stay tuned for that. Yeah, I'll turn it over to Liz now.
All right. Well, I cannot wait to check that out, Angel. That sounds awesome. So for me, the goal is within the next 2 years to be a nationwide nonprofit. We're already on track to do that, which I'm very happy about. Short-term goal would be to be able to make Aaliyah in Action my full-time job and not have to tutor and drive Lyft because it's getting a little insane and there's just not enough hours in a day. So really just working hard so that I can start taking salary from all the hard work I'm putting into the organization. I'll pass it over to Kevin.
I'll take it. My short-term, long-term goals, we have just launched, we did a whole renovation and we have an innovation center in DC that we are really focused on. And it's focusing on infrastructure, education, and technology. We are doing a partnership with crypto.com to do crypto learning and to have a crypto innovation center. So we're really looking forward to that and getting out blockchain technology and all that it can do. But really the focus is the innovation center and being able to have people access it for whatever their technical needs may be.
Sorry, you guys may hear my doggy barking. I apologize for that. But for me, the short term would say I'm focusing a lot on getting my agile experience more in, especially in IT and what I do, expanded a little bit more. So I've been doing a lot of the facilitation and the scrum, but I really want to focus more on the coaching, but not really coaching at more at the sort of enterprise level. So it would require obviously more trainings, more this, but also it's, if you're not familiar with Agile is like a new sort of development life cycle. And it's one that is so different from what IT people are used to in the traditional form. So it's a lot of changing people's mindsets. So I really want to get involved with that because I really enjoy coaching, and really that's like my passion, like coaching. And so being able to use that passion of coaching with my experience in IT in that area of Agile, that's really where I want to go. But I want to focus more on the executive levels, because in order for you to incorporate Agile in an organization, it has to stay on the top. I mean, it has to begin at the top so that it's able to, trickle down to everyone. And that's normally the hardest thing. So excited for that.
I'm seeing in the chat, the kids are wanting to know if you guys see yourself doing this forever.
Ever?
And ever.
Of course, this is by choice. The only way you leave this life is death or bankruptcy. So this is this is what it is. This is hard. This is in stone.
I think for me, yeah, it's probably going to continue, but in different forms. Like right now I'm focused on IT, but like I said, I enjoy coaching. So, and I'm also big into like fitness and all that. So who knows, and wellness. So it could evolve to that. Maybe one day I'll retire and say, hey, maybe I want to take these other skills that I know. I already have the business skills and everything. So, but maybe use these skills for something different. So everything you learn is you can use for the future. So my way of thinking is anything you learn is never wasted. So always be open to learning, and you never know where life is going to take you and what you learn in the process.
I thought I was going to be a teacher for forever. That has drastically changed. I realized that this is what I should be doing, and I'm very happy doing it. But realize that it's okay to change paths and goals as you evolve as a human in this crazy world. So I thought I was doing something I would be doing for forever. Now I'm doing something new that I'm very confident that I will be doing forever.
And so for me, I think I understand that my ultimate purpose and passion is storytelling. And there are many forms of storytelling. So I'm an author, I produce content, I do audio and video production. So in each of those lanes, I tell stories. So while I may not be doing exactly what I'm doing, the companies will always exist. That's the goal. But the ways in which that I am sharing stories will change. And so I think that goes back to what Liz said earlier in regards to being flexible, being open to opportunities and not just shutting them down because that's not what you planned in that season, in that moment. Because you never know how that particular opportunity may lead you or push you even closer to your end goal. But you just have to be willing to ride the wave.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. You all did
Why you
amazing.
keep getting lower and lower? Like we about to be at your top
In
of
my
your head in a
tone.
second.
It's because the sun.
We started off, I could see your shirt. Now I
It's
can
the
barely
sun.
see your eyes.
It's the sun. I didn't expect the sun to do what it's doing, so I'm trying to protect myself.
Bask in your glory.
Because I
Bask in your
did
glory.
not SPF, and SPF is important. And yes, so that's why. But thank you for the concern. Thank you all for taking your time out of your busy schedule and speaking with us. I loved all of your responses. I loved the connections you guys have made with each other. And this concludes our panel part of the Next Steps conference.
Wait. You can't conclude without us sharing our information so all the students can stay in contact with us.
You know what? I'm no longer the moderator. Angel has now taken, that's that Howard energy, has proudly taken that role. Please share where you guys can be reached.
Go ahead, Liz.
Okay, well, I already put in the chat. You can email me, hello@Aaliyah, spelled like the singer, inaction.org. Also on Instagram, I'll put it in the chat, at Elizabeth Mace, MAYCE.
I'm putting mine in the chat right now, Kevin Pryor at communitytechnet.com. You guys can call if you look up Community Tech, Washington, DC. We have an innovation center. You can call, you can come by, you can just, if you need any help with any technology or software or support, this is where you need to come. And that's, it's been a wonderful time hanging out with you guys. So I really appreciate it. And I hope that we stay together. And I hope that, if you guys need to know how to use technology to generate some revenue, please call.
I've also entered my email address, and it's been great being on. So thank you for the invitation, and thanks to meeting everyone too. It's been great. So my email's there. I work for a company called Blue Island in Hamilton. So we do IT consulting. So if you're interested in the consulting arena, what it is, because it definitely, I've done different things with it. And so it's definitely, let me know, email me. And yeah, I'm looking forward to any questions and whatever we can do together.
I've also put my information in the chat. You guys can follow me everywhere at The Angel Nicole on all social media platforms. And you can direct message me there, email me, all of that information is right in there. So I look forward to seeing you guys on social media. I am turning it back over to you, Ruben.
Oh, thank you, co-host. Again, guys, this was phenomenal and a good end to the day. Thank you so much for all that you do, and affirmations, butterflies, and happiness to you all.
And I would like to put in one plug. Please do the survey. All these wonderful things. I'm seeing a lot of them in the chat. We would love to be able to let these panelists, as well as all the panelists and the speakers from today, know about it. I'll drop the link one more time. Thank you. Oh, it looks like I'm the last person. Sorry, Ruben. All right, well, thank you all so much and have a great day. Enjoy the warmer weather before it snows. We'll see y'all later.
Thank you.